Hey gang, today we're going to go ahead and show you guys some metric conversions in this unit. This is not the only way of doing these conversions, but it's a really strong, safe way of doing the conversions. So I would recommend this whenever you get a chance. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and we'll do a couple of metric conversions and then work our way through a combined unit conversion and a volume conversion. For your metric conversion, start with value given. Obviously we're given centimeters, we want to go to megameters. So 2.5 times 10 to the fourth centimeters. We're going to multiply it by conversion factor. We want to get rid of centimeters, so it has to go in the denominator. We want to go to the megameter. That will go in the numerator. Now, what I always do is try and pick out whichever unit is the larger unit and assign that a value of 1. That way I always have positive exponents when I put in my conversion factor. Now, mega is 10 to the 6th, or a million, and centi is quite a ways down, which is 10 to the minus 2, or 1/100th. So I always look at the powers of 10 difference between these two. I'm not subtracting those, I'm looking at the number of powers of 10 difference. 6 to the base is 6 powers of 10. Base to minus 2 is 2 more powers of 10. That's 8 powers of 10 difference, which means there are going to be exactly 10 to the 8th centimeters in a megameter. So that's the easiest way of determining what you get in your conversion factor. Okay, so let me move this out of the way, and I can now go through and do my calculation. Now, the nice thing about it is if I'm in scientific notation, then I know exactly what my number is going to be without touching a calculator. I simply write down 2.5 times 10, and then I get to figure this out. If I'm multiplying exponents, I get to add those, but in this case, I'm dividing exponents, which means I subtract. So 4 minus 8 will give me a minus 4. And the unit that goes away is a centimeter, and the unit that remains is going to be the megameter. And I have my answer. So it's really easy and straightforward to do. We'll go ahead and do one more. Let's say that we have 1.88 times 10 to the negative 3 kilograms. And we want to convert that from kilograms over to the microgram. So again, what I'm thinking in my mind is I need to do a conversion factor here. The larger one is going to be the kilo. It's going to get a 1. And I need to figure out how many micrograms are in a kilogram. Well, there's not 10 micrograms in the kilogram. But if I think of the kilo, that's going to be a 10 to the third, or 1,000. The micro is way down there. And micro is 10 to the minus 6, or 1/1,000,000th. Well, again, powers of 10 difference. From this to the base is 3 powers of 10. From the base to this is 6 powers of 10 for a total of 9 powers of 10. So there are 9 powers of 10 difference between these two. It means that there are 10 to the 9th microgram in a kilogram. And again, I'll never ever have a negative exponent, regardless of whether it's numerator or denominator. It will always be positive based on powers of 10. And now I get to do the work. I can simply take this number, 1.88, and move it over here, 1.88 times 10 to the whatever power. Now in this case, I'm actually multiplying exponents, and when you multiply exponents, you get to add those together. So a negative 3 and a positive 9 is going to give me a 6. So there must be 1.88 times 10 to the 6th micrograms in this many kilograms. Kilogram cancels, and I have my answer. And again, we're handling really large numbers, but we're never touching a calculator, which is kind of neat. All right, so that is the cleanest way of going through and doing your metric conversions, just basic metric conversions, knowing the metric system, and then arranging this in the way that I've shown you there. Let's go ahead and move on, and we'll do a combined conversion. This is where you have multiple units on a single number. So combined unit conversion. Good example of that, let's just say, well, miles per hour is one, but I'm going to stay away from English to metric conversions. Typically, those are great for showing dimensional analysis, but they're not as effective in science. So I'm going to go ahead and say we have 38.5 centimeters per second. Now you got to be careful with this because a lot of times this number will be reported as 38.5 centimeters per second. Make sure you rearrange that to show the true numerator and denominator where they're located. because this one is confusing for students, but this is very clear in terms of what you want to cancel and get rid of. And we actually want to get rid of both of these. Let's go ahead and convert that over to, I'm going to turn this into kilometers per hour. So I want both of these units to go away. Whichever unit I want to go away first is how I'm going to attack the problem, and it really doesn't matter. If I want to get rid of the second first, then the second has to go here. Now I want to go to the hour. If you're not comfortable with the conversion, then you can actually go through the minute to the hour, or you can go directly from the seconds to the hours. I'm going to go ahead and go directly from the seconds to the hours. So I want hours down right there. Now the hour is the larger of the two units, so I'm going to give it a value of 1, but get this is a time unit, it's not in the metric system. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how many seconds are in an hour. Well, there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. If I multiply those two together, I get 3,600 seconds per hour. The second will go away, and my answer is now going to be centimeters per hour, but I want kilometers. So now I get to attack the other unit. I want to get rid of the centimeters, so it's going to go in the denominator here, and I want to go to the hour, which will now go to the numerator. And I can make sense out of this conversion, but I'm not going to the hour. I'm actually going to the kilometer. So let me put kilometers there. So I can make sense out of this conversion factor now. The kilometer is the larger of the two. It gets a 1. Kilo is 10 to the third. Centimeters 10 to the minus 2. So that's 5 powers of 10 difference between these two. So there are 10 to the 5th centimeters in 1 kilometer. The centimeter will now cancel, and whatever happens, I'm going to have kilometers per hour, which is what I wanted. All I now have to do is the math. So you multiply 38.5 times 3,600, and then divide that by 10 to the 5th. And when you do the math, you come up with 1.386 times, oops, sorry, not times. That's going to end up being kilometers per hour. And I've got my final answer. Okay, so again, combined unit conversions are pretty easy. You're just doing metric conversions, but you're actually changing both your numerator and denominator unit, whereas the ones we just looked at were single.
Single, okay. Do you want to change the sig fig?
Oh, sig figs I'm going to deal with later. Good idea. Sig figs we're always going to worry about, but until we've done sig figs instruction, we'll just go ahead and let it roll. Okay, however many significant figures we've got down there, we'll keep them for now. But soon we'll be changing those around as well. Okay, let's go ahead and move on then. And we will do a volume conversion. Oops, get rid of that as well. Clean. Let's go ahead and do volume conversions. Now these also can be area conversions, okay? I'm going to go ahead and show just one of these, which is a volume conversion. That's the most common, and area is very similar, and you'll kind of see that as we go through. All right, so volume conversion, let's say that we're given 23.5 cubic centimeters, and we want to convert that over to nanometers cubed. Now, I don't want to go through and memorize a whole bunch of new conversion factors, so I'm going to use whatever I already know to convert and make up the conversion factors that I don't know. So start with value given, 23.5 cubic centimeters, and get rid of the centimeter and go to the nanometer. Well, right now that's not going to do anything for me because I want nanometers cubed. But I don't know the conversion between cubic centimeters and cubic nanometers, but I do know nanometers to centimeters. Centi is 10 to the minus 2. Nano is 10 to the minus 9. Powers of 10 difference. There's 7 powers of 10 difference between these two. The bigger one is a centimeter, so I'm going to put 10 to the 7th nanometer in a centimeter. So this conversion factor is correct, but it does nothing for me because I need to get rid of cubic centimeters. So I'm going to do an intermediate move here. I want to go ahead and cube my conversion factor so that I can actually cancel my units. Now really what that means is I'm taking 10 to the 7th nanometers times 10 to the 7th nanometers times 10 to the 7th nanometers. And I'm taking 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter. So I'm really just doing this by cubing this. Well, as we all know, if you multiply exponents, you actually get to add those. So this is going to turn into 10 to the 21st nanometers cubed. And the denominator becomes 1 times 1 times 1, so that's 1. Centimeter times centimeter times centimeter gives you centimeters cubed. So it's actually, I'm creating a conversion factor, which is now 10 to the 21st centimeters cubed per, sorry, that's nanometers cubed per 1 centimeter cubed. Now my centimeters cubed will actually cancel out. And all I have to do is the math. And the math is quite simple. 23.5 centimeters is really 2.35 times 10 to the first. 10 to the first times 10 to the 21st gives me 10 to the 22nd. So I merely take this number, 2.35 times 10 to the 22nd nanometers cubed. And I get my final answer. So cubic conversion is actually very, very easy. We don't need to memorize anything new. We use what we already know to create what we don't know, and then finish the math and come up with our final answer. Okay, that in a nutshell is metric conversions.